This technique is called anchoring, and it's really fun. I use it a lot with athletes, with people who have a fear of public speaking, if you want to feel more confident before you have an interview or you have an important meeting. It's a brilliant and fun technique that you can use to help you take charge of your emotional state. Because the thing is, most people don't feel that they can change the way they feel. And because of that, if you are driven to soothe an emotion such as sadness, loneliness or unhappiness, anger or anxiety, and you soothe it with food, which is very, very common, you start to feel powerless because it's also become a habitual behaviour. And as you know by now, our habits are run in our subconscious mind. So you've got the swish pattern to help you change the behaviour. This is another way of doing that, where we're actually focusing on how you feel, because how you feel and what you think create your behaviours. And when you can take charge of your emotional state, you have the key to life mastery. So in the document below, it explains how to set an anchor. So I'll very briefly recap. So an anchor is a trigger to do something or feel something, like an alarm clock which goes off, which is your cue to get out of bed. So you're going to create a good feeling that you're anchoring into your body, kinesthetically and auditory, to allow your body to remember to change the way it feels from a not so good feeling to a great feeling. So the first thing to do is to spend a bit of time and have some fun going back into your past and remembering some great events, some fabulous times where you were feeling awesome, perhaps confidence, powerful, happy, empowered, whatever name it is for you. So go back to a time that you felt amazing. Imagine you're there looking through your own eyes. Take note of everything that was going on, everything you can see, what you can hear, what you were saying to yourself, and in particular, notice the feeling. Feel that feeling and imagine it growing and flooding through your body. Now, as you start to feel the feeling in your body, this is where you're going to anchor it. So there's two steps. One, you can say the word yes, or another powerful word, because words have power. And if you say the word yes over and over, it will help you lock that and associate it with a good feeling and turn it up. At the same time, to lock it in kinesthetically, which is through your feelings, simply you can use your thumb and your index finger from your non-dominant hand. So do that at the same time, so you're locking it into your body. When the feeling almost peaks, you want to let go of your thumb and your index finger and stop saying yes. So you're just locking in the most powerful phase. And then you simply stop, clear the screen, and that is the first step for setting an anchor. The next step is to go back to at least 5 different memories with 5 different resources and feelings that will help you. Or you can go back to the same one, but I like to choose different ones. Maybe where you're confident, happy, powerful, whatever it is for you. And you go back to each one and you stack your anchor. So you're literally adding another good feeling onto the one that you've already got. And the key is to just feel the feeling. And if you can't feel it very well, say to yourself, well, what would it feel like if I could imagine what it felt like? So that's the first step. So now you've made your anchor. You want to test it now, and you'll know that it works is if you press your thumb and your index finger together, you say the word yes, and if you've chosen to add any other colours or sounds to your anchor, you should notice a difference in how you feel. Because the idea is when you're in charge of your feelings and you feel better, you will get better behaviours. So have some fun and practice it. And remember, when you're out and about in life, you can add to your anchor anytime by just squeezing your thumb and your index finger when you're out and about having a great time. So you're always building your own resource anchor. The next step is to use your anchor to help you overcome a time where perhaps you might have eaten to soothe an emotion, whether it's anxiety, you're feeling worried, you're lonely, or you're bored, and you might have eaten to try and fill up that emotion and soothe it. When you can change the way you feel, you will be able to do a different response. So the first step is to think of a behaviour, a time when you didn't make a healthy choice because you were driven by one of your feelings. So go back to that time and look at what the trigger is. When you were feeling unhappy or anxious, what was the trigger that caused you to eat when you had that feeling? Was it a cue of going to the cupboard and opening up the cupboard? It could be somebody said something to you. Notice what you were thinking and feeling and what your behaviour was. So clear the screen, which is as simple as literally wiping the slate. Now the key is to ask yourself, how would you like to respond? Would you like to just stand there and breathe and feel powerful and just let everything go? Would you like to find something else to do, like go and exercise? So just decide how you would like to respond differently to the situation and what behaviour you would like to be doing. Run through that a few times so you're clear as to how you will respond. The next step is simply close your eyes and go back to a time, one of those old times, those old memories when you would have chosen some unhealthy food. As you go back to that time, notice the trigger, and just when that trigger happens, apply your anchor. So squeeze your thumb and your index finger, say the word yes, and notice how you change the way you feel. And as you're changing the way you feel, rehearse your new response, your new behaviour, so that you can lock it into your body. Now, the key is to practice this several times until you really feel that your new response and behaviour feels right for you. If you need to alter anything, do that. But the more you mentally rehearse it, remember, you're making the unfamiliar familiar, and that is a key to changing behaviours. So practice it mentally. Your real test is when you're out in your everyday world, when you have an experience, when you run that emotional pattern, when you got stressed or when you're unhappy or anxious. The key is to run it then. It may take some practice, but I guarantee when you start to do this and you take charge of your emotional state, you have the key to change forever your poor eating behaviours that are fueled by your wayward emotions.